Franchises, chains, mass food, and trends and what people want when they go out to eat. Because everyone's like, oh, you know, chains, why do chains even exist? And there's a reason why chains exist. And that's because back before massive industrialization, World War II, mom and pops were everywhere. That was like, mass-produced food was actually the unusual one. So there was inconsistency when you went from town to town about the kind of food that you got. And boom, World War II happens. All this industrialization happens in the mid 20th century. 1945, World War II ends. And people are like, we want the most, you know, we want to remove variables. You know, I want to make the probability of getting anything that doesn't work for me down to zero. So let's mechanize how we eat. And what ended up happening is franchises like McDonald's, Burger King, you know, fast forward many decades, Outback Steakhouse, Applebee's, the whole usual suspects, right, turn into this massive chef, what is it called? Chef King. They had Chef Kings down here for a while. Shout out, click that like button or put a comment if you know what I'm talking about with Chef King. So, or maybe it's called Burger Chef. I think there might be both. Anyway, there's even franchises that have lived and died, but the ones that we know every day are McDonald's and Burger King. In any case, the point is that people are like, well, when I go travel somewhere, I want to make sure that I can get the same meal and that there's no surprises when I eat my food. And that is the rise of the franchise. So the franchise guarantees the same experience every time. And the kind of franchise cookie cutter experience that you get, you know, there's like with strip mall businesses that maybe they aren't a franchise, but it feels just like Starbucks, you know. They're kind of like leveraging that feeling when you walk in. You know, you feel like you know what you're going to get, and there's no variables and there's no risk, and it kind of like wipe away the character and enter the genericness. There's a big market for that because people don't like, you know, I'm someone who likes certainty. Uncertainty can be annoying, but here's the thing: it's 2025, and now as a culture we have a huge abundance. This is an awesome view. So I am in Heritage Park here. This is our local park where everyone plays soccer and the Frisbee golf course is. Shout out to Tommy Rodick. Anyway, there is a huge number of people now who have grown up on Chipotle. They've grown up on even very high quality versions of cookie cutter experiences. And the cookie cutter experience is now the default. The suburban food experience where you walk in and it feels very comfortable, and you know, it's like all like the whole ordering process is like cognited and all of that stuff. That's like eliminating like human variables and character is like the norm. So the trend now is that people want, you know, people are bored of that. People have grown up and lived on that and just like kind of had that suburban experience for their entire lives growing up. And now when people come and visit places like Andrews, North Carolina, or in their own hometown, the trend is going back. It's going back to, I want something that's unique to that town. The quality of food is, you know, is better across the board now. And so when you get something unique, it tends to be pretty good, and it's also like unique to that experience, to that place, and there's a huge market for that. Problem with those businesses is they don't want to build a website. No one wakes up in the morning running cups and cones and says, I know what I want to do today. I'm going to run this business and I'm going to build a website. It's just a big pain in the butt. They want to be found in search results But no one wants to build a website. That's why 2 out of 3 of the businesses in places like this that are beautiful, you can't find them in Google search results, because Google search results are full of corporate results, because Google builds tools for corporations. So no surprise, local search results are completely full of corporate returns. So local search doesn't show local businesses in local search, because local businesses like Cups and Cones, they don't want to spend 1 minute of their time building websites. Totally understandable. That's not their expertise. That's not why people open businesses on Main Street, to build a website. So what we do at Virtual Storefronts is we create a website presence that uniquely describes the business with all the keywords, so that both Google and the customers know that Cups and Cones has biscuits and gravy, and which Google could never know unless you told Google somehow, which Google says, hey, just build a storefront so that you can compete with Hardee's in town in search results, which is impossible. But they just hire us to build their virtual storefront so that they can show up in search results for all the stuff that they have. So that's the gig. That's what we do. And the advantage of a virtual storefront is each one is unique. So we can all work together in a group solution as a virtual storefront. And we are on the river walk of Heritage Park now, in the shaded area. It's hot. It's not terribly hot, but it's pretty hot out right now. Anyway, it's a pretty nice place to walk. It's the river is right around the corner. Maybe I'll flip the view and share that with you in a minute. Anyway, point is that when you document these local businesses, the variety of all of the stuff they have can be retained in a virtual storefront as their unique set of keywords, and it's all linked. All the local uniqueness of the local businesses works together inside of one single website, where all the NAP, the name, address, and phone number, matches the data that Google has, so that Google is getting 12,000 keywords describing 100 businesses in Cherokee County that have verified name, address, and phone number. So it's verified data that Google did not have before, that's unique to each of the businesses, but uses the database, the shared database at virtualstorefronts.com, the same database that feeds the VS shopping app, which is on Android and iOS. All of that data is collective power of these local businesses working together, and also retains the uniqueness of each business, and also makes it easy for these businesses to create a virtual storefront without having to do any work themselves, except for spending 5 minutes to order it, and it's delivered in 7 days, and all they got to do is approve it. So that is the story of how we started with unique businesses, and then people wanted to reduce variables in the very mechanized, industrialized 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way up to the boutique version of industrialization, which is Starbucks and all of its clones now. And now that we have as much of that as we want as a society, the next thing that we want is to go back to the unique benefits of unique businesses in unique towns, because we can get McDonald's and Starbucks and cookie cutter stuff any day of the week that we want. And that's all known quantities, and it's very well represented in Google search results. What we need to do is disrupt Google search results with local businesses. We need to disrupt local search results with locally owned non-chain businesses, which Google has made impossible for them to essentially get fair representation in search results, because Google makes tools for corporations, not for local businesses.